Hello friends, my name is Ian, and this is Folklore 1103, Introduction to Folklore, Folk Genres, and Analysis. Why such a complicated title? It's historical. We'll fix that one of these days, but for the time being, think of this as your go-to introduction to folklore. This course in fall of 2021 is being offered asynchronously, but I'm going to put on the Moodle page, which you should have access to. If you don't have access to it, I have no idea how you are watching this, some kind of protocol for figuring out how we can perhaps get together, because I've discovered, much to my chagrin, and much to my delight, actually, last year, that students actually kind of want to meet. And I am delighted by that. I am somewhat confused by that, but I want to make that possible in some way. There wasn't a easy way of putting a specific time slot in to allow for this sort of freedom. It was either you're going online or you're going online with no set time, or you are like sort of in a non-campus situation. So that's what we have. But I will come up with some way so that we can meet, because I do actually want to, at least once, and probably a couple of times, get to know you somewhat individually. There's only so much that I can glean through this Moodle thing. On the other hand, I've discovered that these courses can be quite dynamic, and you can get a lot of feedback. So let me explain some of the concepts of the course. If you are brand new to folklore, which I presume many of you are, unless you're sort of doubling back and have taken a course before and now want to sort of do a broader survey, folklore has both of the connotations that you might already imagine is in place. Folklore has its origins in the study of these sort of old-timey traditional things, with lots of scare quotes all around. But it's the stuff that is of the past. It's the stuff that is of a particular group of people who are defined almost by definition in contrast to the putative us, as opposed to like the middle-class urbanites. It's these people's things. And that was sort of its origins in the 19th century, 18th, 19th centuries. And then over the past 100 years, there's been a recognition that the content of folklore, the kind of communication that happens in folklore, is not limited to a particular population in a particular kind of region with a particular background, or a particular socioeconomic background, or a particular cultural background, that we all engage in this kind of stuff, because it is less about who we are in terms of how we're going to be categorized, and much more about how we use these almost spontaneous but certainly amorphous aesthetic kinds of communications, whether that be story, whether that be slang, whether that be form of dress, to express some kind of commonality, express our own identity, and then express commonality with others who have tight overlap with those identities. So, folklore will have all those old-timey things. If you were one of those people who's like, I want to learn old stories, oh, my friend, there is that rich possibility. But if you are like, I don't know, I'm taking this as an elective, I really like X, Y, and Z, you probably find that a lot of X, Y, and Z can be addressed somewhat by the study of folklore. We're going to examine that over the course of the semester. So, the way it works, historically, years ago, I used to teach this course based on this old textbook, and it was a really great way of laying out a semester. The problem is the age of that textbook, and that the examples were, I mean, the book itself was like 30 years old, and they were using sort of classic articles in some way, so some of these things were just, they were no longer relevant. So what I've done in the past couple of times I've offered this is I've restructured it in that I use that as the basis, the basis of the course. I have, and I've adapted it. I've dropped one of the chapters and I've added two more that weren't talked about in this original book. The details of which you don't need to know, but I'll pop it up on the screen when I'm putting the video together. And I use modern readings, modern in terms of since 2000. And I try, and every time I offer the course since, I also try and update. I don't necessarily update it entirely, because sometimes there are readings that are good, but I'm always trying to sort of keep it as broad and as inclusive as possible, and emerging voices and relevant, and so on. So this is the way the course is going to progress. Every week, on the Moodle site, there are going to be 2 videos. One is the general concept that we're talking about. So we will be doing such things as, let me just get out the old schedule here. We're going to start with on the concepts of folklore. We do ethnic groups and ethnic folklore, religious, occupational, and so on. If you look at page 4 of the syllabus, which is available, clearly available on the Moodle site, you can sort of get those senses. So that's a general discussion video about this topic. And then the other video for each week will be a study of a particular article that illustrates that point. Ever since COVID started, one of the things that I did is that, I mean, my basic procedure is to assign a reading and then it gets discussed. But I wanted to have these videos that were also freestanding. So it's like so all these videos are let Ian talk you through X, Y, and Z, this particular article. So the article will be incredibly relevant to the theme of that week, but it might not necessarily make specific references. It's not necessarily going to make references to other articles that you would have read, because this has actually happened in the interim. These are available online on my YouTube page, and then people can just, I'm not taking this course, or I'm not teaching this course, but Ian's discussion of this particular article is very relevant, and I'm going to use it in my course. So I wanted to create this body of fairly in-depth videos that anyone can access and perhaps use in their own online courses and so on, so contribute. So for this semester, I'm doing the same. There will be each of the readings that we have. There's 11, because basically we cover 11 topics in the 12-week semester. Will be an Ian talks you through. So and that becomes sort of the basis of each week. Additionally, each week there is a forum question that is general. You can answer it before you do the readings, or you can answer it after the readings. But the question is there, you make a post, and then you also respond to 2 other people's posts. It's a very simple 20% of the semester. And I said, there's 11, so that if you miss one, that's fine. But just as you go along, answer these questions as you proceed. And they are, forums aren't necessarily a immediate substitute for class discussions, but they help in terms of replacing class discussions. And I've had the forum question even when I have in person, and a lot of people who don't feel comfortable talking in class feel very comfortable talking in the forum. So there you go. We have a second assignment that's in basically around Thanksgiving, around the halfway term, in the halfway point in the semester, and that is an article critique, where you are going to go to digitally, you're going to figuratively go to the library and find a recent folklore article, any topic. Basically, it's not don't do a book review, but do an actual article from a folklore journal. And I have links on the Moodle page to the library splash pages, and you pick those out, and you pick out an article for whatever reason, and I want you to critique it. Read an article, explain why you chose it, do some in-depth understanding on the person. Maybe you Google them a little bit, see where they're coming from. How do they make their argument? What are they talking about? Who do they cite? How do they do field work? Because folklore is very invested in doing ethnography, certainly for ethnographic moments. And just tell me what you think, because as you enter into university, the article is one of the default ways that we deliver it, and you should sort of start developing appreciations on how it is done, and also a critical faculty. It's like, this is not a particularly good article, but go for it, and you'll find that gives you the opportunity to explore. You just serendipity is a thing, and you will just flip through. It's like, someone wrote an article about this thing, cool, and then you will read it and you will go, yay, this is awesome. And you'll sort of discover the things that folklorists have written about. And the wonderful thing is that this is a reciprocal process. And you might come across an article, you probably will likely come across an article that I haven't necessarily read, or I might not necessarily even know about. It might be something I've seen as table of contents and go, oh, okay, that's cool, but I've never actually read it. And so I get something out of this. And it's like, yay! So you help me in as much as I putatively help you. I used putatively twice in this video. That's very strange. The final assignment is sort of basically a basic essay, a folklore essay about a group doing a thing that is folkloristically. It can be a very old-fashioned, and old-fashioned doesn't mean bad, and I'm not being condescending when I'm talking about old-fashioned, but it can sort of be a historic development of some kind of particular thing. Or it can be very modern. It can be a fan culture kind of aspect. The more details are forthcoming in the syllabus, but it's a very broad topic. And then finally, there is a final exam. I'm not a huge fan of exams, but the exam is, short answer questions. It's about terminology. It's about the vocabulary that you should have developed over the course of the semester. It'll have some short answer questions. None of them are gotcha questions. None of them are, what did this person say on this particular page? If it's, a very, very big thing, like what city was Anthony Bucciatelli's reading based in, and you should know that. I'm not going to tell you right now, but you should know that because you should have read that article. But that's not a gotcha in these sorts of situations. And then a nice, broad, expansive essay question. And by broad and expansive, I don't mean long. I just mean it's not like some kind of narrow focus. It's much more a summing up, what I learned this semester kind of essay question, where you sort of synthesize what you've done so far. And that'll be available online. And basically, it's a matter of it's open. It'll be open sometime. It'll be open for like almost the duration of the exam period. And find yourself 2 or 3 hours to do it, and then you're done with it. And so that's it. That's the course. It's fairly simple. I said we're going to be meeting as we go. Next class or next week will be on the concepts of folklore. Just to let you know, for the articles, all the articles are available on the Moodle site. There is no textbook for this course. It is a compilation of these. Just compilation of independent freestanding articles. They all have the appropriate links that will lead you to either just a PDF that's on the Moodle site or the CBU page where you can access them. If you are off campus, there might be an additional login. It should be a very simple procedure. If you have never done this before, you might want to visit the library page and just figure out how to do it. But more or less, you click on it, it'll send you through a portal where you put in your email address and your CBU password. It's the same password that you use for absolutely everything, like Wi-Fi on campus or any kind of access. It's fine, and then you have it. The reason I do that as opposed to just uploading PDFs is because when you click an article, the university subscription pays, even if it's just like a teeny tiny bit, the journal access it. They keep stats. They get to know that people are downloading this thing. The money is actually not particularly impressive. The authors don't get anything. But the journal might get a little bit of money and help support. So it's of no cost to you apart from another 30 seconds of logging in. So it's the ethical thing to do. It's like if you're on Spotify and, yeah, there you go. I don't know why I brought up Spotify, but it might be small, but it helps to increase stats. So that's why I am doing it. The readings are varied. I mean, some of them are quite lengthy. None of them are particularly complicated, but that's what the videos are for, to talk you through them. You should still read. The videos are not a replacement for reading the article, but think of them as a help along. And I think you'll find they're kind of exciting. I think there's some great ones, and again, I have chosen new ones that are very new to me. So there's about 3 or 4 ones that I've not taught before. The oldest one, I think, is 2002. So they are, which I know that's old on one level, but it's not like one from 1978 or one from 1856 or something. So, cut me some slack. But I think you'll be excited by the readings that you read. They are, these are university readings. You should struggle with them. They're not going to be impossible. They're not above your scope, but they're making arguments. And you might not agree with the arguments. That's the whole point. I'm not feeding you stuff. You are engaging with stuff, and you go, I don't know. This will be quite a lovely course, I think. So the videos will be up. I've got to make a lot of videos, so the videos will be up in as timely a manner as I can. I won't have them much beyond the release date. They're not going to be available too far in advance. I tried last year to I wanted them all, in a perfect world, I would have had them all in place by the time the course started, and that was just untenable in terms of production. But I don't think they will ever be delayed. I'm trying to keep them short. The problem is, this is a good problem and a bad problem. The good problem is that I really like these readings, and I like discussing these articles. The bad problem is then I don't know when to shut the hell up. So sometimes the videos are like, oh, this was a great thing, and I turn around and I stop the camera. It's like, oh, I talked for 45 minutes, which is this long enough? Is this short enough for a student to watch? Not to mention the fact that now I got to edit this thing. I will refrain from swearing as much as I can. But anyway, the videos are hopefully engaging enough to keep you motivated. And otherwise, thank you for taking the course. Folklore is one of those very strange things where the chair is like, no one signed up for this course. And then I clicked in the other day and it's like, oh, there's nice 30, 35 people in it. It's like, yay! So people want to take this course. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get something from it. Most of the people who take these courses end up saying, I didn't know what I was signing up for, but I got a lot out of it. And that's really all I can ask for. I don't think you're all going to be, drop what you are doing and become folklore majors. I would actually actively advocate against it. I don't think the world needs more folklorists, but I do think the world needs more people who can think folkloristically. So I encourage you to take this course. I encourage you to take other courses as well. I also encourage you to think about your careers, because there's not a huge amount of work out there for the folklorist. But if you're a judge with an understanding of folklore, if you are a teacher with an understanding of folklore, if you are a doctor with an understanding of folklore, if you are a lawyer with an understanding of folklore, you will make the world a better place. I have said it. There we go. A line in the sand that I have drawn. There's a wonderful book that's coming out, which I'm actually in, and it's called What Folklorists Do. And I'm going to get a copy for the library. And it's 70 different essays, very short, like 3 or 4 pages, about how folklore works in public policy, how folklore works in teaching science, how folklore works in being a social advocate, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a wonderful thing, and I'll put as links to that on the site when it comes out, and I'll put a copy on reserve in the library, and you might be interested in this. Again, the world, as I said, the world doesn't need more folklorists. The world needs more people who think this way, or can at least appreciate this way. Diatribe over. How long was that? I don't know. We will see when I edit it. But thank you for taking the course. Follow along on Moodle. I have a fair amount of latitude when it comes to due dates and so on, but just keep pace. It's useful to keep pace. And be well, be happy, be safe, and I will see you virtually and quite possibly literally soon. Bye-bye.